Hello students. So today we are going to see something about gate. What are the phases? You already know. We are going to see a new nomenclature for gate analysis. As you know, in our syllabus, if you have gone through the Access Therapy 4 syllabus, we are supposed to know pathological gates, which is abnormality in gates. But before knowing that, I would like to tell you what is a normal gate. So pathological gate will be a different lecture. Today we are just going to discuss what is a normal gate, what are the phases, how do we name them, and how do we use it for analysis purposes. So starting as it is, what is a gait? So gait is a translatory progression of the body as a whole produced by coordinated rotatory movements of the body segments. Which are the body segments? Mainly the lower limb, the arm and the trunk. Lower extremities carry the weight of the head, arm and trunk. Yes, so remember this short form head, arm and trunk. Lower extremities are responsible for main phases of gait. Which are the phases? What are they? We'll see. So first of all, what is the purpose of the gait? Maintenance of support of the head, arm and trunk, maintenance of upright posture and balance of the body, achieve safe ground clearance and a gentle heel and toe landing, generation of mechanical energy to maintain the present forward velocity or to increase the forward velocity, absorption of mechanical energy for shock absorption and stability or to decrease the forward velocity of the body. So mainly the main purpose of the gait, as we are sure, it is from moving one part to the other part, but while moving, to maintain the posture, to accelerate, to decelerate, everything is the purpose of gait. Yes, so as we are talking about a new nomenclature, Rancholos amigos, which is wet acceptance, single limb support, swing limb advancement. It is a type of nomenclature we used. Which are they? How are they? You are already familiar with the two phases, swing and stance. In the swing, we are again familiar. In the stance, again familiar. So in the swing, we are naming it acceleration, mid swing, and deceleration and stance. There are five sub phases. So accordingly, they are named differently, but the overall concept remains the same. Yes, so you can see the phases of the gait cycle. This is the kinematics of the gait. Yes, so starting first is the initial contact, that is what we call heel strike, loading response, moving 12% to mid stance, terminal stance, pre-swing, initial swing, mid swing and terminal swing. Yes, follow just one leg completely completing one cycle, and simultaneously second leg will be in swing if the first one is stance, and completing vice versa. So timing, if you can see, toe off, initial contact, toe off. Same, this was about left leg, right leg, same thing will be there, but it will be opposite. So if it is left toe off, at that time it will the right foot will be in stance phase, and this will be initial contact. When the left comes in contact, the right toe off, and again when the right comes in initial contact, there will be left toe off. Yes. Events in stance phase: traditional, heel strike, foot flat, mid stance, heel off, toe off. In Rancholos amigos, as we said, it is just the name that is different. So heel strike is termed as initial contact, foot flat is termed as loading response, mid stance remains mid stance, heel off is terminal stance, and toe off is pre-swing. If you see, these are names just according to where the phase is. So this is initial contact, loading response is complete, foot flat. Then mid stance is mid stance, terminal stance, and pre-swing. So if you follow the right, that is the yellow part, you'll be able to see this is the stance. Up to here is the stance phase. Then it goes for swing phase. This is the swing phase, and again it comes into the stance. Left foot, which initially is in double support, that is stance, moves to swing, comes back again to stance. So similarly it is described that way. Events in swing phase, that was about stance. Now coming to swing. So swing has acceleration, mid swing, deceleration. Changing the names: initial swing, mid swing, and terminal swing. So if you can see, initial, mid, pre-swing. Here it is initial, mid, terminal. Yes, here also the terminal stance comes. So These are just according to the phases. This is exactly what is happening anatomically, we are sure. And these are just the name nomenclatures that is different that we need to remember now. So what is double support? Moving in normal walking speed, each period of double support occupies about 11% of the gait cycle to 22% for full cycle. What is double support? So if you can see, this part is double support. When both the limbs are under stance phase, both the limbs are touching the ground, that will be termed as double support. The body supported by only one limb for nearly 80% of the gait cycle. Yes. So 80 plus around 20% when the whole cycle is going on, that will be double stance. This is double stance. Yes. So this is in detail which are the phases. First of all, see, this is one stride, one complete cycle divided into stance 60%, swing 40%. These are the traditional terminology. This is RLA terminology. Double support, single support, double support, acceleration, deceleration. Acceleration, deceleration part of swing. In stance, loading response, mid stance, terminal stance, pre-swing. In swing phase, initial swing, mid-swing, terminal swing. Yes, all the terminologies as described before. If you can see the events, heel strike, foot flat, mid stance, contralateral foot strike, toe off, mid swing, heel strike again. Yes, the same things. Subphases of the stance phase. Heel strike phase begins with initial contact, ends with foot flat. You are already aware about all the stance phases. Loading response in RLA, that is the same, begins in initial contact, ends when the contralateral extremity lifts off the ground at the end of the double support phase, occupies 11% of the gait cycle. Mid stance begins with foot flat at 7% of the gait cycle, ends with heel off at about 40% of the gait cycle. Mid stance phase of RLA, that is, begins when the contralateral extremity lifts off the ground at about 11% of the gait cycle and ends when the body is directly over the supporting limb at 30% of the gait cycle. Mid stance, almost similar for both phases, both traditional as well as RLA. Terminal stance of RLA begins when the body is directly over the supporting limb at about 30% of the gait cycle, ends a point just before initial contact of the contralateral extremity at about 50% of the gait cycle. Push off phase begins with heel off, that is traditional way, about 40% of the gait cycle, ends at toe off at about 60% of the gait cycle. Pre-swing in RLA is the last 10% of the stance phase, begins with the initial contact of the contralateral foot at about 50% of the gait cycle, ends with toe off at about 60% of the gait cycle. This is overall again the same thing, terminologies used traditionally and RLA wise, which are the events, which are the phases. You can go through it once, you will be provided the PPT for the same. Swing phase, again acceleration, mid swing, deceleration. So acceleration, also known as initial swing in RLA, mid swing is the same, and deceleration also termed as terminal swing in RLA. Now coming to some important terminologies that you are already aware, that we have already discussed in the class also. So these are some basic parameters with respect to time and distance. Stance time, single limb, double limb time, swing time, stride and step time, cadence, speed, distance variables, stride length, step length, width, and degree of toe out. Yes, so we are going to see them in brief. Stance time, it is the amount of time that elapses during the stance phase of one extremity in a gait cycle. So when one foot is in complete stance from heel strike to toe off, the time required by one limb, that is stance time. Single support time, only one extremity is on the supporting surface in a gait cycle. Yes, so at the time where only one limb is in contact with the ground, the other limb is completely in the swing phase. So complete gait cycle minus the double stance time will be the single support time, the time required. Double support time is the amount of time spent with both feet on the ground during one gait cycle. So double stance, as we have discussed, when both the feet are touching, both are in the stance phase, just about other limb going into the swing phase. At that time, the time required or the gait cycle time required is double support time. Double support time increase in elderly persons and in those with balance disorders. Why? because mainly when you do not have proper balance or coordination, the patient cannot remain on single limb. Yes, the base of support decreases. To maintain that base of support, the person uses more time to be in the double support time. Decreases as the speed of walking increases. So while running, if you see n- in fast runners, you can see not a single second will be as such where the patient or the where the individual, the athlete is running, and at that time his one foot while in contact, the other foot will be in the air, and when the second foot is coming in the contact, the first will go into the air. Yes. Distance variables, we have talked about this, stride length, step length. So stride length is the linear distance between two successive events that are accomplished by the same lower extremity. It is a measure from the point of one heel strike of one lower extremity to the point of next heel strike of the same extremity. Yes, so if you can see, this is the step length from one heel to the opposite leg's heel, or toe to opposite toe. Yes, so if this is left, this is right, left heel to right heel. This is step length. The left heel to again left heel on the next phase of the gait, that will be termed as stride. Yes, it decreases in elderly patients and increases with the speed of gait increases. Stride duration, amount of time it takes to complete one stride, one limb's stride. Stride duration and gait cycle are synonymous. For normal adults, the stride duration lasts for 1 second. Step length, as we discussed, linear distance between two successive points of contact of opposite extremities measured from heel of one extremity to heel strike of the opposite extremity. Step duration is the amount of time spent during single step. If there is pain in the extremity, step duration decreases and the affected side and increases on the normal side. Yes. So if you are having pain, say in left foot, so step duration decreases on that side. Yes, and it will increase on right side. Why? You will not allow weight bearing on left foot if your left lower limb is paining. Yes, we will tend to shift weight for more time on the opposite normal foot. Distance variable, cadence, this is number of steps per unit of time. It is usually measured in steps per minute. So in adult male, the normal is 110 steps per minute, and adult woman, normal average 116 steps per minute. It also depends on very different factors. One of them is age. One of them is also the height. Distance variable walking velocity is the rate of linear forward motion of the body, which can be measured in meters or centimeter per second, meter per minute, or miles per hour. The normal preferred one is meter per second. So walking velocity is distance walked per unit of time, that is second. Increases in velocity up to 120 steps per minute increases both cadence and stride length. Above 120 steps per minute, step length levels of speed increases achieved within the cadence increases. So you need to remember just one thing. The velocity, normal walking velocity, is obtained by distance walked per time, that is seconds, meter per second. Distance variable, speed, free speed of the gait refers to a person's normal walking speed. Slow and fast speed of gait refers to the speed slower or faster than person's normal comfortable position walking speed. So for example, for me it might be 6 to 7 meters per second. Yes, but for another individual that will be slower. It will be 2 or 3 meters per second. Compared to that, if he is running fast or if he is walking faster at 6 or 7 meter per second, it is fast speed for him, but it is free speed for me. Yes, it is individualized. It is not common for everyone. Step width, measuring the linear distance between the midpoint of the heel of one foot to the same point on the opposite of other foot. Step width increase in elderly person and children as they demand more stability. So what is step width? You can see. Okay, sorry for this. Yeah. Measuring the linear distance between the midpoint of the heel of one foot and same point on the other foot. So linear distance between the midpoint. If this is the midpoint, the linear distance, this point, this heel to this heel. This will be termed as the dynamic base or the step width. In younger children, COG, center of gravity, is higher than in adults as wide base of support is necessary for stability. Normal width is 3.5. It ranges from 1 to 5 inches. Degree of toe out, the last one, measuring the angle formed by each foot's line of progression and the line intersecting the center of heel and the second toe. Angle of degree for normal man is 7 degrees. Degree of toe out decreases as the speed of walking increases in normal man. So, if this is the line of progression, straight line, the angle formed by the second toe, that is this angle. This is foot angle or toe out angle. Remember. As the speed increases, this angle decreases. Yes, we have gone through the basic things that you need to know about gait. Now it is up to you to write all the definitions that are mentioned in this presentation in the video. The PowerPoint presentation also will be forwarded to you. Next lecture will be on pathologies of the gait, normal pathologies that are visible clinically, how to assess them, what is the deficit, and why do we see such type of gait in such conditions. We'll see condition wise. So for now, the assignment remains you have to submit the terminologies, gait terminologies that we discussed in this lecture, and also to remember RLA scaling, RLA terminologies related to the traditional terminologies. Yes, this would be it. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you in the next lecture. Yeah, thank you.